Hey everyone, welcome back to the latest GoSkills Excel Challenge solution. How close did you get to solving it? Well, we've got Microsoft trainer Deborah Ashby ready to share her solution. Check it out right now.
This challenge is seemingly straightforward. I asked you to look up the employee names that you can see here in column H in the table on the left and simply return the salary. Now, if lookup formulas sprung into your mind, then you would be correct. But as I mentioned, things are not as straightforward as they seem because we have John Smith, the first employee that we need to return the salary for, listed 3 times in column A. So let's first take a look at what happens if we just use a standard, straightforward VLOOKUP to try and return this information. So I'm going to click in cell J4 and we're going to type in equals VLOOKUP. With VLOOKUP, we have 4 arguments with the last argument being optional. Our first argument is the lookup value. So what are we looking up in the table? Well, I want to look up the employee name. So let's select John Smith, comma. Table array is our next argument. So this is where we specify where we're looking up this value. So I'm going to select the entire table. Now, you don't always have to select the entire table when you're performing VLOOKUPs, as long as you include the column that contains the lookup value and the column that contains the return value, then your VLOOKUP will work. But as I always say to people, if in doubt, select the entire table, comma. The third argument is the column index number. So we're looking up John Smith in the table. Which column of information do we want to return? Well, we want to return the salary. Now, VLOOKUP numbers columns from left to right. So employee name is column 1, job title column 2, department column 3, status column 4, and salary column 5. So we want to return the salary, so we need a 5 in here. And then the final argument that is optional is if we're doing an exact match of the lookup value or an approximate match. Well, I want to exactly match the name John Smith in the table. So we need a false on the end here. Now let's hit enter and see if we get the correct answer. So John Smith, sales agent, his salary here is $37,000. So let's consult our table. I'm going to move down my table until I find John Smith, sales agent. Here he is in row 13. Now take a look at his salary. It's $40,000. That's the result I was looking for. So why has my VLOOKUP returned 37,000? Well, it's because VLOOKUP by default will search top to bottom. So it's going to find the first occurrence of John Smith in the table and it's going to return the salary for that person. Now, the first John Smith in this table is the John Smith who works in finance and he has a salary of 37,000. So that is why we're getting that result. Now, with newer lookup functions, such as XLOOKUP, there is an option to specify which way we're searching through our data, from top to bottom or bottom to top. So if the John Smith that I wanted to return was this one here, John Smith Developer IT, I could use XLOOKUP and search from the bottom to the top to get the correct answer. But it's not going to help me if I want to return a result that's in the middle. It's not the first one and it's not the last one. So the way that I like to get around this problem is to create what I like to call a composite lookup value. And all I mean by that is I want to create a unique ID for each row in this table, which is going to help me identify the employees more easily. So let's delete out our VLOOKUP. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select column A and press Ctrl+Shift+ to add a blank column. And I'm just going to add a helper column on the front here. Now, it doesn't matter about the formatting of this column because we are just going to hide it anyway at the end. Now, if I want to create a unique value to use as my lookup value, I can look at my data and think, okay, what could I combine together that's going to make this unique? Well, what I could do is combine the employee name with the job title and use that as my lookup value. Because if we do that, we're going to have John Smith Credit Controller, John Smith Sales Agent, and John Smith Developer. So those are now all different. So let's click in cell A4 and we're going to simply concatenate these two cells. So we're going to select the first cell B4. I'm going to use the ampersand symbol to join together and we're going to select the job title. So when I hit enter, I now get something that looks completely different. Let's copy it down, and now we effectively have a unique value assigned to every employee in this table. And we can use this new column to construct our VLOOKUP and return the correct result. So this time, let's click back in cell K4. I'm going to type in equals VLOOKUP. Now, what is my lookup value? Well, we want to recreate that concatenated lookup value. So our lookup value is the employee name joined with the job title, comma. Where are we looking this up? Well, we're looking it up in the table. Now we need to include our new helper column because that's where we're looking up this value, comma. Now that we have an extra column, our column index number is going to be 6 instead of 5. And we want to do an exact match. So we need a false or a 0 on the end here, or nothing at all. Let's hit enter and see what we get. John Smith's sales agent, this time we're getting a result of 40,000. And if we refer to the table, I can see that yes, we're now getting the correct result. I can copy this formula down. We don't have duplicates for these other two, but let's just double check. Kevin Dunn, 48,000, that's correct. And Jeannie Rice, if we look down, 30,000, that is also correct. And if we don't want this helper column showing, we can, of course, right click and choose hide. So that is one method that you can use when performing a VLOOKUP where the lookup value is duplicated. Tell us what you think about our solution to this challenge by commenting below or joining our Slack channel. And I will see you next time.
So there it is. Did you get the same results? Did you use the same approach? Or did you try something different? We'd like to know. Share your take on the challenge in the comments below or join us for more discussion in our Slack channel. Link in the description. Thanks for participating, and make sure to subscribe to this channel to get an alert when the next challenge is released. We'll see you then.